Hi guys, welcome to Pixienatory and I'm Pixie, a custom doll artist. Today will be a commentary video. In this one I will make a commissioned character for my customer and talk about very important artistic related topic. And this topic is very well known by many artists around the world, and I bet it is one of the most burning topics with the inexhaustible source of someone's experiences. So much already was told about it, so I will be no exception with this one. I just want to talk about it. About my personal experience as a doll artist. I'm not a professional psychologist, not an expert on the theme of burnout. I'm just one of those many who had experienced it multiply during my doll artist career. The only difference is I learned how to deal with it, and I can tell what methods helped me to stay creative, or at least what methods helped me to get out from another burnout episode faster. Since I'm a doll artist already for years, and I did various arts way before dolls became my main focus, I had been through different periods, ups and downs. One of my burnout episodes lasted me 2 years straight. Yeah. Some of these downs can be drastically deep, as you can see. And even from that creativity desert pits, I was able to dig myself out. Even recently, I felt that I was slowly slipping into another burnout, and it is connected to the fact of war in my country. I'm from Ukraine, but it is not what I'm gonna tell you about today. Making art during the war should be separate video, because the mental state behind it differs from what artists usually experience when they don't need to worry about basic needs such as life safety. Today I will talk more about old but gold common burnout, which most of you who are doing art can experience in your creative way. What is burnout at all? What concepts stay behind it? Why has it even happened to me? What can be done to it? Is it forever? How long will I suffer? These questions usually don't pop out in your mind when you have already fallen into burnout, right? And if you are here not because you are like to watch the custom doll creation process, but because you are looking for some advice, then maybe my story will be helpful. So first things first. What is artist burnout by the version of Pixienatory? It is terribly suckable period of your mind and body during which you can't maintain your usual levels of creative activity, saying it shortly. In other words, you can't create art as usual. So now let's expand this formulation a bit. Why did you tell me that burnout isn't a state but a period? I heard a lot that it is a state of my mental health, and it is true. But I believe that the word state can be interpreted as something permanent, something that is core and deep. Don't get me wrong. Burnout is a complex thing, and there are actually in general about 5 stages of burnout, starting from minor up to severe, like this which I had for 2 years. And so here is a nuance why I like to consider burnout as a period. Burnout is predictable. It is an enemy that you should know in its face. And good news, it will not be there forever. Our brain just can't maintain itself under so much stress forever. That's why it is a period in my opinion. Also, it is a bit easier to resist it when you know what to do and that it will pass eventually. And another important thing that you should know. Severe stages of burnout can be easily mixed up with the depression, and there are differences. When you're feeling burnout, you exactly feel that you are tired, but you want to do something about it, and you can't. You feel that you need to keep moving, but you have no energy at all. You start to hate what you are doing or hate that you are doing nothing, and often both at the same time. In other words, you're feeling the need to create, but it is just no inner resource for it. Sometimes it happens that you love everything about what you are doing, but a lack of energy can cause failures in your work. Also the bad news. If you will continuously suppress your needs, you can start to truly hate what you loved not so long time ago. Simply because it made you feel bad. Even this monstrosity of the doll that I'm painting here is the result of an early stage of burnout.
Ugly motherfucker.
Again, it is related to war, so your supportive comments will get me back on track really fast. The good news is I have the energy to redo this doll's face, and the result will be very, very cute. This doll is already on the way to her customer, who is also a wonderful artist. I tried to mimic the original drawing style, but it didn't work out, so I switched back to mine. So now we know what is burnout, so let's talk about why. Why is this shit even happening? Let's talk about it while I'm making the second version of the character. You can come to this condition pretty imperceptibly, exactly because of the reason you started doing art as something that you loved, right? Or at least as something that motivated you. as a thing that presumably should give you benefits. We start to be motivated about something just because it will give something valuable to us in return. And now, despite the fact you were so thrilled about it, the fire is slowly but surely going down, and you find yourself stressed, trapped, lost, and unmotivated. You are filled with a dull sense of numbness and even stronger emotional tension. The reason behind burnout is usually about the same, and it is quite simple. If you protractedly spent a tangible period of time in an activity that kept you in high emotional tense, it is no matter whether was it good or bad, it will unavoidably lead to burnout. It means that you can love what are you doing with all strings of your soul, but if you keep yourself unrested, it will cause more harm than use. And it is the main reason of burnout, at least its earlier stages. Creativity shouldn't be forced. It can be trained, it can be naturally generated eventually, but it just shouldn't be forced. Especially when something happened to you and you started to feel down. There are a few more reasons for burnout. For example, you can experience burnout if you haven't met the goals that you set for yourself at the start of your activity. Simply saying, failed on something. Maybe you set your standards too high and your final goal was just too far away. Maybe you had compared yourself too much with other artists. All that can lead to high level of stress. Your brain will try to find a way from this stress, and you can start to feel that your thoughts just flounce in a loop of hows and what ifs. It is actually doesn't matter that much what exactly led your mental tension to a high level. It is more about what you can do about it. Now it is at last time to share with you my personal methods and landmarks on how to deal with burnout. I try to use these tips myself when I feel that I'm getting or already got into another burnout period. Keep in mind that those are actually very easy tips, very intuitive, there is nothing too much special about them. But if a video that will highlight those is the one you were looking for, then this video is for you. The first one, get some rest. I know it is easier to say than to make, but believe me, it is your essential starting point. We are all people and some of you can't allow too much rest time in your routine because of reasons, I know it, okay? But how about the statement that the more you force yourself to be productive, the more rest you will need eventually? How about that? It means that at the end of the day, everything has its rollback. Burnout is a thing that has a cumulative effect. It will not go by its own. The more time you will keep loading yourself with thoughts or jobs, the more time you will need to get back into a balance. It can be hard, but it is necessary skill. Be able to find yourself a quality rest and time for it. When you can distract yourself from thoughts, repeatable activities, routine, you can actually use this time to fill your energy tanks back with a fresh perspective on things. You just can't stay rational when you're stuck on a task, at this point unsolvable. When your thoughts are intensively busy with solving any kind of problem for too long, there is just not much place to reflect on things that you have already done and how far you still need to go and where you need to go. Give yourself some space for a rest. You know better what brings you joy. So I will not create another list of watch some TV, socialize, get some walk, sleep and eat well, or breathe. You know all that better than anyone, because we know better for ourselves. The most quality and effective recreation you will get is from activities you had limited yourself from. Absorb fresh experiences. But if you feel like you want to lay down on a couch and do nothing, a potato condition in this case is totally okay. For some time, of course. But if you still have energy to do something, you should try to do something that you haven't done properly all this time. And if it seems that it all doesn't work right away, then remember a thing I told you about the accumulation of the burnout effect. It depends on how severe your stage of burnout is. The longer you have been trapped in a heavy mindset, the longer rest you will need, and the greater work you will have to make on yourself. Another easy tip for you is to try to create lists of your tasks. This one is especially for those of you who like to compare yourself with others and set crazy goals. Those two are coming quite close in my opinion. You know, when you see someone with great skill and constantly compare yourself with them, it easily can become a spike in your thoughts. Even if your self-esteem is okay. You just can be in bad mood today or something happened and you can just get into this mind trap unconsciously. Same with setting a high standard. You can visualize your main goal for so long and so hard as an unreachable thing that eventually it can make you feel helpless and your work becomes senseless and non-beneficial to you. Because this goal is too hard to achieve from that place you are currently on. Both of these mind traps have one in common. Those are irrational mindsets. But this road can be very long and your brain just doesn't bother too much about how you should get from A to B. It just wants it now. It can lead you to burnout because even if you will make a lot of work, it will not just feel that way because you realize how much effort it requires. In other words, your work will be not rewarding personally to you, even if it is a wrong assumption. And our brain really loves to get rewards, remember that. So we're coming back to the tip of making lists. Setting a really big goal and trying to achieve it all at once can end up as burnout. Setting multiple smaller tasks, even the tiniest one, and making them one by one will be rewarding to your brain. Try to write down an elementary checklist for a day, for a nearest hour. Don't write too much and try to follow it. This list can be so basic that you literally can write brush your teeth, take a shower, get a breakfast, and that's it. Just a few will be already enough to organize your activities. Make it easier to maintain. Further, you can set bigger goals and make longer checklists. Start from the small and move to a bigger at your own pace. This way you can keep yourself motivated for a longer time, and it will help you to systematize steps that you will need to do in the direction of the great goal. So I'm not telling you don't compare yourself to the others, don't set your standards too high, you can do all of that. If it feels healthy and reasonable personally to you, it can't be harmful. What I'm saying, be rational in your abilities and your circumstances. Those are individual. The other day you should reflect on that a little bit. Last but not least tip that helps me to keep from burnout or make my recovery faster is being kind to myself and attentive to my basic needs. And by that I mean all of those most fundamental tips that every website out there will advise you to do. Yeah, those about sleep and eat well, socialize and get some walk, all of that. I said I will not tell you to do that, but you know, all that damn good tips actually. All that can be not that spectacular, it can be boring and feels unnecessary at the moment, but I tell you that. You are a biological structure, a human being, with your basic needs which have to be covered. Your daily lifestyle proportionally correlates with how well you are feeling. It's just how it works. It is your responsibility to take care of yourself because you are the one who can dig yourself from burnout. If you do get not enough vitamin D because you are sitting the whole day at home under the covered windows, you will feel like a shit. If you don't eat enough fruits and veggies, don't drink enough water, and haven't laughed even once a day, you will feel like a shit. If you are surrounded by people who make you feel bad and unmotivated, or you don't spend enough time with your loved ones, then your cortisol levels stonks, and guess what? It makes feel you like a shit. By the way, it can happen that this stressful person towards you can actually be also you. Be kind to those who are showing you their love and care. To your family, friends, partners, pets, accept and ask for their help if they are willing to assist you. It is easier to handle things with someone caring on your side. I think it is important to try be rational when it comes to matters like that. It is important to learn how to separate your thoughts one from another and catch those mind traps at the very start when you felt that you are on the edge of big oopsie. It is a skill that anyone can develop. It is not the easiest one, but I believe everyone can make that with enough time and effort. Also with help of specialists, if you feel like you need professional help. I was able to handle all burnouts myself, and I can't tell that it was too easy. It would be much easier if I got the right things said to me by a professional in time. It would have saved me plenty of time and nerves. But since I had stepped on the same rake over and over, I'm now able to say with reassurance that burnout is a resolvable issue. Just listen to what your inner self is telling you. It is the most likely what you have to do in this case. So I hope this video was interesting to you. It quickly came up to an end, and I want to say just a few more words to my customer who ordered me this character. Thank you so much for trusting me with your character. Hope you will like her. I had a lot of fun making her second variation. So in a few moments you will see the final result. And it is a moment for me to say thank you for watching this video. Hope the next burnout will not bite you too hard. See you in my next videos, guys. Bye! but not least Last but not least tip that helps me. Last but not least tip that helps me to Last but not least tip that helps me to keep. Блядь. Last but not least tip that helps me to keep. Last but not least tip that helps me to keep from burnout or make my career. Last but not least tip that helps me. Блядь. Last but not least tip that helps me. Last but not least. Kurwa. Last but not least tip that helps me. Why? Why? Last but not least tip that helps me. Helps me, блять, кто-нибудь. Somebody helps me. Last but not least tip that helps me to keep from burnout or make my recovery faster is being kind to myself and attentive to my basic needs. Блять, наконец-то, сука.
This needs to stop. Now.